So, then um, I think we'll move on to our next session, and it's another list-based session today. Um, yes, a Korea, please forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that, is going to show us or give us a demonstration of using quick statements to import Wikipedia lists into Wikidata, and then how Listeria can be used to fetch that same data and transclude it to a Wikipedia article. And is this going to be using the new version of quick statements?
Yes. Hello,
Excellent.
everyone. For me, it's still morning. I don't know what is the time for you. Um, so I'm Arthur Correa from Wikimedia Brazil. Here it's 8:30 in the morning. Very cold here in the south of Brazil. So I'm going to show you how to make a list that is Wikipedia, and then add the data into Wikidata and make the Wikipedia use the data from Wikidata to update the list. So if there's new data on Wikidata, the list will be automatically updated with Listeria. So there are some pros and some cons of making that. And to import the data into Wikidata, we're going to be using Quickstatements 3. And I think that's it. So if you have any questions while I am working on the data, just put the questions on the chat or open your microphone. Feel free to do so. And we're going to mainly be working in a spreadsheet. So I have some simple slides, but we're going to do our work basically on a spreadsheet to organize the QIDs and the property IDs. And then, okay, so let's start. And let's see, let me start to share my screen. Start screen sharing. Okay, so I think I'm going to share my entire browser because I'm going to be switching tabs. So let's do it. Okay, so using quick statements to Wikidatify lists. So let's Wikidatify a prize article, a literary prize article from Portuguese Wikipedia to Wikidata list using Listeria. So the prize is going to be this one. This is the literary prize José Saramago, which started in 1999, ran up to 2024. It happens every 2 years. So we're going to be getting this data here from this table, import that into Wikidata, and then make this table be a Wikidata table from Listeria. So, so let's go to a spreadsheet and let's see how easy it is and the difficult parts about it of putting this stuff into Wikidata. So the first thing is to just let's start by copying all this data into a spreadsheet and then start working on that spreadsheet to make that being able to be imported into Wikidata. And so I have my spreadsheet here. Let me increase the zoom. And so I just copied that table into here. I am working here like those cook shows that they start working, but they have a prepared version and to show so that we don't lose time with minor details. But I just copied the entire table here. So what those labels here is edition, year, work, author, and country. And here's the year of the prize, right? So now to work with quick statements to add data into Wikidata, we need to know the QIDs of those items. So we need to get the QIDs of every work here and of every author and of the countries if that's going to be needed. So there are a lot of ways to get QID based on a title or a Wikipedia article. And I think the one of the easiest ways, without installing any extension or using some external software, is to make a query in the Wikidata query service. And I'm going to show you how we're going to get this textual data into the QIDs of those items so that we are going to be able to import in Quickstatements. So the first thing is to get the exact name of the Wikipedia article. So we're going to be using the Wikipedia article to get the names. So what can you do is just you start clicking, or you can just pass over your mouse and see at the bottom what is the name of the article. But almost all the work articles are exactly as the name is here. Some of them have a little bit different. So this one adds the romance in parentheses, and this one adds book in parentheses. So now that we have the exact name of the article, we're going to be able to get the QIDs of those works. However, those items don't have a page in the Portuguese Wikipedia. They are red here, right? So if they don't have a Portuguese Wikipedia article, they probably don't have a Wikidata. There is a chance that they don't have a Wikidata item. But let's leave those for later. So now that we have the Wikipedia article names to get the QIDs, it's fairly easy. So there is a query to do that, and it's this query right here. Oh, I'm going to talk about wiki projects later, actually. So the query is this one. So let's go over to Wikidata query service, and I'm going to show you how it works. So let's see if we can make a zoom. So this is the query. I think it's a very useful query that I use often. So we have here the item, the article, and article is the Portuguese Wikipedia article. So you can put these 3 lines right here to connect the item to the Portuguese Wikipedia article. And this is the Portuguese Wikipedia URL. You can change it to other wikis. And we also get the name using this schema, column name. And then to filter, we're going to use this one. So you're going to search for every item Wikidata in which the Portuguese Wikipedia article has this name. And this name I got from here, the table. And then we order by article because it's not going to be to retrieve in this order. So that's a catch. So we put order by article or order by name, whatever you think it's easiest. And then we just run the query. And now we have the articles and the items. So you can just go over here, copy or download in whatever way you want. And in a spreadsheet, you can do something like this if you are working in a spreadsheet. So I just copied here. And then you can see that the items are sorted by the name. And we can do something like this. We can here go filter. Don't filter this one because those ones don't have an article. Sort by work name. Copy the QIDs here. And then find a place to remove that WD. And then you can do this thing to get the QIDs of based on Wikipedia article names. So I already did this for the work and the author and the country right here. So if you have any questions, remember to data top share. Yes, to put in the chat. Wikipedia in place. Okay. Okay, author and org. So these ones, they didn't have a Wikidata article. I searched with the label in Wikidata, they didn't have one. So I created for those 3. So that's you may need to do that for some lists. So now that we're going to create these articles, we're going to do the modeling on the prizes. So when we are about to do, and this is the query for the other stuff for the authors and the countries. So it's always a good idea to look for existing wiki projects. And when you search for wiki project awards, you can see that there is one, Wikidata column wiki project award. So you can see how the community has made some consensus, a consensus about how to model the awards. And then for us, the specific part important here is the award recipient, because the item award already exists. So here's the award recipient. So the recipient of the award should have the award received property. This property should primarily be on the item of the person receiving the award, but it can also be added on the item of the work when applicable. Also be added. So it's best to put on the person, but it can also be added on the item of the work. So we're going to add that when we create those 3 books that don't have the Wikidata item yet. So you can see here which qualifiers are best to put on the award received. And for us, the important one is point in time, to put the year, and for work, when we add to the person to connect with the book itself for the award. So now that we already know how to model that, let's create these 3 Wikidata items. So I put it here, creating books, and this is the quick QS3 syntax or quick statement syntax to create items. So I am picking this data from Wikipedia, and a rough overview here. There's a create, and then we start connecting which cell the commands that are going to be modified that create. So I put here the label in Portuguese, description in Portuguese, the name and work of the author, P31 literary work, and I'm going to talk about the references in a minute. P17 is the country, so just get the country here. P50 is the author, so just get the author here. And P166 is the QID for the work itself, this José Saramago Literary Prize, a literary award, and the qualifier for the point in time. So date times are a little bit, they're not that pretty in quick statements. So we have plus, year, month, date, T, time, Z, and then the /9 means that this is the year precision. So we're only talking about 2019 here. But we have to put the month, the date, and the hour, even if they don't matter. And quick tip, pro tip, actually, if you put I don't remember what is the name in the English, in the name of the symbol, single quotes maybe. So because if you put a plus in a spreadsheet, it's going to like make this a formula and then it starts breaking. So if you want a plus in the spreadsheet, just put that small quote here. So this is the point in time that I got from the table. And the references here are the imported from Wikimedia URL, and there's the fixed URL here with the fixed version URL, so not the current one. So you can see here old ID, and then the retrieved, which is at which date this URL was retrieved, which is today. So that's the same reference for every command. So you can see here that we're putting the syntax for everyone. And then you just copy all of these into quick statements. And then let's see here, new batch, and then creating books. So you go to quick statements 3, you make a login. This is the v1 command format. There's the CSV also format, but we're not going to use that. And then you just copy here, create, and then you can see here on the preview if you selected the correct properties, the correct QIDs, and then you just run the batch. I already ran that batch. So in my batches here, José Saramago 3 books, I already ran the batches. And then in the batch, you can get the QID of the items you created. So after I created those books, now we have the QIDs of everyone. So now we have the QIDs of every work, of every author, and know every year. So now we can add this data into Wikidata to put that the author received the award. So remember, I put the award also in the book because here it can also be added on the item of the work when applicable. There isn't a great discussion here when it is applicable or not. You could argue that it's best not to do it. You can argue that it's a good idea to do it. I did it. And then maybe we can discuss it here in this wiki project. So now that we have the work items in Wikidata, now we can import the data that the authors received the award in this year and for this work. So we're going to model using award received, point in time for the award date, and you're going to be using this property for work and then connect to the work item. So let's do it. So here we have the adding prices. So I just transformed this table into this table using spreadsheet skills. So let's see how we're going to do it. So in quick statements, you have the syntax QID and then PYD and the value. So item property value, that's going to be our statement. So this thing here in purple is our statement. So the author, the award property, and the José Saramago Literary Award QID. And then if you add P after the statement, it's going to be a qualifier. So we have so these ones are qualifiers, this one's in blue. So let's see those qualifiers. For work, which is the important one to see from which book the author received the award. So I just put here for work, which is P1686, and this is the QID of the work that we got from those that we got from before. And the point in time, which is when the author received the award, and here is the years /9 at the end. It's a year precision for a date, and then that pro tip of adding a small code here to put the plus on a spreadsheet. So we're going to have two qualifiers for every statement here. And then the references, which is very important stuff. We're going to be using a simple way of adding references, which just imported from Wikimedia project. So you can see here, it's the pinned version of the article URL. This one is imported from Wikimedia URL, and this is the retrieved, which is today. So, and then after you organize that, so how you do that, you just copy this and just put that, maybe do some find and replace to make your spreadsheet better. And then you just going to copy all of these and then use Quickstatements tree, new batch, just Saramago, and then you just copy here, create, and then you can just review the labels of the authors, award received, José Saramago Prize, for work, transparent city, translated name, and point in time, and the reference Wikimedia import URL and retrieve. So you can just copy here, and then that's going to be edited on Wikidata. I already ran this batch before, so this is the batch, which is the same batch, but it already ran. So we already have this data on Wikidata. And some of this data was already on Wikidata. So since the statement syntax on Quickstatements is idempotent, what it did is it just added this qualifier for some of the statements, and it added this reference as well for the existing statement. So I don't remember which ones already existed. These three I know for sure they didn't. So, but some of these old ones already existed a statement, and then the batch just made the statement better. You can think about it like that. So now that we have this data in Wikidata, we can start to import that into Wikipedia. Now let's take a look if I have apostrophe. Yes, thank you, Danny. Country of origin instead of country for literary works. Thank you, Bodhisattva. We can make that correction later. Are there any people in the audience who currently use quick statements? Yeah, that's a nice question that I want to know as well. And okay, now that they have this data, we have to get a way to query that data and to retrieve the data and then put on Wikipedia. So let's continue here. After importing, let's make a query to get the results. So we're going to be using this query right here. I'm going to explain that to you. So here we have item, and then P31Q5, so that we only get the human and not the books. And then we have P column here, which is the award received property, award received property. And then we connect to the statement variable. And then we do the PS here with the same property to make that connect to the José Saramago prize. And then we need to get two qualifiers from that statement, which is the point in time. And then we just use this line to make into a year. So so that we only receive the year and not a date like the January 1st of the year, just the year. We can use this function here, bind the year of point in time as year, and then we have year as the variable. And then we also need to get the for work qualifier here. So it also get the P27, which is the country of citizenship for the authors to get the country. And then we just order by year. So let's execute the query. And now we have here our query. So you can see here that we have basically the same table as before. So if you go here to a spreadsheet in the source QID, and then if you just look at those, you can just take a look that we have the item, which is the author. Remember that the columns are flipped, so that may make it harder to see. But here in the item, we have the author, and the for work, we have the work itself and the country of citizenship of the authors. So now we can get basically the same table as before from Wikidata. So now that we have this query, let's go to the Portuguese Wikipedia article and make Listeria update that table. So let's go. And then if you have here the article itself, this table is still the old table. And let's see how Listeria works. So if you have here Listeria, let's see, Listeria. So the Listeria code, it's basically this Wikidata list template, and you just put a Sparkle query in the template, and then you just select the columns and maybe rearrange the column headers, and then just you can make the list. So I already did that in a test page. So you can see here in the source code that we have here, it's the same query that I just showed you. Actually, I forgot this one, optional country. This is not supposed to be here, but it basically returns the same thing. So it's basically the same query here. And then which columns we want to show based on this query. So we want the year, and then I put here ano, which is here in Portuguese, for work, and obra, which is work. Then the label of the item, and then the author, because the items that we are querying here are the authors, and P27, which is the country of citizenship of the authors. And then make the WD edit yes. And then this links local here is that to make the link for Portuguese Wikipedia articles only. And then when there isn't a Portuguese Wikipedia article, turn in red. However, Listeria didn't update the table in time, so it's still here showing in italic and a link to Wikidata, which is also viable. So, so let's see here, because this data wasn't here before. You just put this thing here, and then this end of Wikidata list in your article. You just put it like this, and then Listeria will automatically update the data. So if you just need to put this thing here in the original article. So let's do it. Winners, and then just remove this data here, and then add this Listeria label here. And then this is the start, how the list appears at first. And then Listeria will automatically update this data here with the Wikidata data. However, at least for me, Listeria was taking some time to update the lists. I was testing on my test page, and it was taking like in one run. It took 15 minutes today to update around this time. So I am a little bit worried to just update the main article page here and then just leave it for 10 plus minutes without data. So I was a little bit worried to do this. So that's why I did it in my test page as well. So if you are importing the list, you can do it like this. Maybe Listeria will take some time to update the list. So what can you do is you just put the list on your test page. When Listeria updates it, you can see here on the history page that we have Listeria bot updating the list. You can copy the data with the data that Listeria added, so that you don't have this few minutes in the main article page without any data. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to do it like this. This data right here wasn't created by me. It was created by Listeria bot in my test page. So now we can add the main article and already have some data here, the full data here, so that the users, the readers, don't lose data if they visit this article. So now that we have here the data, you can just put here. So uh, so just put here the updating list to make a list with Listeria, and then we can just publish. Now we have the list here with the winners. Let's see if we have any. I just put 37 not country. For persons, for Q5s, it's best to use country of citizenship. So you know what is country mean for a person. It can be kind of ambiguous. So it's best to use country of citizenship for persons. So how do you find this new version? qs-dev.q4.org or on Meta, Quickstatements 3.0, and you can see here the documentation, timeline, and talk page, ask some questions. So there are some pros and cons about doing that. So cons is that normal regular Wikipedia editors may not know how to update this list. So you can see here that there isn't a tutorial here, where an easy way to add a new row in the table, which is very easy to do in MediaWiki. Just put new row and then you just write the stuff and then put the reference. So that's one drawback. Pros. If we make this award into other languages, we can use Listeria to update the list in all Wikipedia languages. So that's really amazing. So you can think that probably this award will be most updated in the Portuguese article. But if you're using Wikidata and a Portuguese Lusophone editor edits on Wikidata, is going to be updated on every other Wikipedia that's using Listeria to get this data. So that's a really nice pro. But we have the con that I said before. But it can also be edited for other users. Now that we have the list Wikidatified, so there is something that I did here, which is I didn't use the references that the article was using. So you can see here that before, in the previous version, every row had a reference to a news article or something like that confirmed that the article was given to this person. So there is this data here that I didn't import it into Wikidata. So I just use the Wikimedia import URL. You can get the same thing. So if you click on that version, you're going to arrive here, and then you can check the references. But probably it would be better to also add the references here into Wikidata. But you can see that this would take a lot of work to check everyone and see which ones are already broken So I know that some of those don't exist any. Some of those don't exist anymore. So we're going to have to check the web archives if there's archive link. So there's something that could be done. So I invite the volunteer editors to do that. And let me see. And we also lost a lot of references, right? Because of that. So the article diminished. But what can you do with those references is to add non-structured information about the prizes with Wikipedia references. So we leave the structured data to Wikidata, and then we can just go here into one of those references, for example, and add non-structured data, narrative data, if I think narrative text. So you can just see here, oh, there's a jury that talked about the award, so we can do that and just interpret the text, process the text, and add a text to the Wikipedia article in Portuguese. Maybe this jury is notorious in Brazil, so you can also link to that jury article. So we also lost a lot of references here because the references were just being used to update the table. There's no narrative here with the references, and I think this would be a great addition to the Wikipedia article so that we also don't lose the references. And maybe we can also move this list to a separate Wikipedia article, a just list article, a list article with just the list. So maybe that's also a good idea. And some further reading, I invite you to take a look at the feature list that we have in Portuguese Wikipedia, which is the list of deaths and disappearances in the military dictatorship in Brazil. So it just this is the feature list with a lot of stuff. So it's a very quality list. You can take a look here, which is very nice, and it's using Wikidata. And I also invite you to go to the Wiki Project award page and maybe let's discuss about those qualifiers and when it is applicable to also add in the work item. And I also know one of you commented that we should not use country for books. So there's also something that we should do to those books that I created to switch the country property to the, I don't remember which property it was, country of origin. So thanks for your attention. You can find me in Wikipedia, and that's my professional account here, Correa WMB, or arthur.correa at wmnobrazil.org. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I do prefer if I refer to you as Akre or Artur. Okay. Well, thank you for showing us. I think Ifatu was probably reacting rather than wanting to ask a question. I was
Yeah,
wondering,
that's right.
sure, no worries. With the new version of Quick Statements being launched, I think it was earlier this year, around the start of the year. Um, is there what does the roadmap look like? Is there much more development or implementation of additional features planned, or quality of life upgrades, or what does that look like?
Yes, great question. So in the documentation, we have in the meta page, you can have more details, but we are almost basically feature parity with Quick Statements 2. There are some features that we are dependent on the REST API. So we're using the new REST API instead of the Action API. So for example, merging entities is still not possible, and lexemes are not possible, and structured data commons as well. So as soon as REST API makes that possible, we're going to update that in Quick Statements 3. And some quality of life improvements that Quick Statements 3 has is we have ways of removing just references and just qualifiers. I think this is something that's fairly useful in V1. So you don't need to remove the whole statement to remove just a single reference. I think that's a nice quality of life. And you can check the timeline on the meta page and the documentation to see other details, or just ask me as well.
Great, thank you. So Oh, and Nicholas in the chat asked, very sad that Lexemes are not possible for the Wikimedia Deutschland team. Like this is, I guess this is aimed at Lydia. Any chance the REST API will be updated soonish? I'm not sure if that refers to quick statements or if that's
Yeah. So the thing is that the REST API doesn't support Lexemes yet. So quick statements, the new quick statements version that depends on the REST API, can't use it yet. I will continue to poke people about getting the REST API to support Lexemes.